Hi, it's Mitch, and it is Tuesday, March the 12th, 2019, here with your free live show. Of course, we're here live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Of course, our best bets always over at sportschatexperts.com, as well as at picksandparlays.net. Hopefully you guys having a great day. Of course, March Madness continues today. We've got daytime college basketball. Tomorrow is really kind of when things are at its peak. Tomorrow and Thursday, Friday. To me, those are some of the best days of not just college basketball, but really sports in general. So, some pretty exciting games. I like it when teams are playing with purpose. We definitely are seeing that. So, makes for some good basketball. It reminds us why we love sports so much. I think when you see games like Wofford against UNC Greensboro, even though it looked almost fixed at the end, thankfully we're on the right side of it, but of course, if you have picks of yourself, or you want to give out your picks or whatever, you can give those out in our Facebook groups. We have one for Sports Chat Place as well as for Picks and Parlays. That's what those are there for. And, of course, you could start your own YouTube channel, website, whatever you like to do that as well. For me, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I've gotten up at least a half hour ago to do this show every day. So, this is where I give out my free picks. Hopefully we can get on some winners. We had a pretty good day in the premium yesterday. Continue to try and do more of the same. It just seems that also this time of year, you got a lot of other new sites pop up, new people, people trying to spam our group and promote their own stuff and whatever. But not sure what kind of business plan that is. It's like our business plan is to spam Facebook groups. Yeah, I've been surfing the last 2 days. Been back in the water first time in over a month. Felt pretty good. But anyways, if you're watching the show, if you could hit the thumbs up, no matter where you're watching it. It should cost you nothing. It should take you about a half a second. Just kind of scanning through the different social media channels. Of course, we're available on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Picks and Parlays, YouTube, Sports Chat Place, Facebook, groups and pages for Picks and Parlays and Sports Chat Place. You can watch us any of those places. Anyways, how far do you think Murray State can go in the tournament? I'm not sure. I don't think they go very far. I'm not even sure they were the best team in their conference this year. Yeah, Morant's awesome. He's definitely one of the best players in college basketball by himself, but he's got no help whatsoever. And when you're going against some of these deeper teams from the bigger conferences, it really depends what kind of matchup he gets in the first round. I mean, if he grabs an Indiana or Ohio State or something like that, yeah, they got a chance to go. But it's like if they end up playing, Duke or, Virginia or something, North Carolina, they're going to be in big trouble. There's certain teams, when I looked at the brackets, I had this conversation with Craig Trapp last night. We were looking at the brackets last night and the potential brackets and who's going to make the tournament and who's not. And I have to say, this could be the worst NCAA tournament field in history. This could easily be. I think when you look at the 3 seeds, and 3s, 2s, and 1s, any one of those teams can win it. But you look beyond the 3 seeds, and I don't see one team that can really even make a lot of noise here. Kansas, Florida State is seen as a 4. Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin goes against a hot shooting team. They're gone. They only score like 40 points a game. They'd be gone. But of course, I think any of those teams on the 3 line or better at this point can win it. I think Iowa State as a 7 can make some noise, but really beyond that, and maybe Kansas State as a 4. But look beyond that. There's really not a lot there. There just isn't. Marquette as a 5. I mean, they have not played well down the stretch. They've been pretty good this season. I would say of the 5s, they're the one that maybe has the chance. But you look even beyond this, and I mean, there's just some bad teams in here. Some really bad teams. I think Utah State's a good team. Irvine's a good team. But some of these teams from the major conferences, like Arizona State and Purdue has not played well down the stretch. Florida's been terrible this season. They're looking like they're in. Baylor has not been able to in the step-up games. Ole Miss consistently inconsistent. Texas has been horrible, and they're seen as getting into the field. So, we're starting to see push comes to shove. St. John's, Texas, Florida, and Temple are on the bubble. The last 4 in. NC State, TCU, I mean, no chance. Clemson, no chance. Ohio State, no chance. I mean, last 4 in. Those teams have no chance. First 4 out, Indiana, Belmont, Creighton, and Alabama. None of those teams deserve to be in. None of them. I'd say Indiana over Ohio State would be the one change I would make, and Belmont over TCU for sure. I mean, but outside of that, none of those teams. And then you look at the next 4 out, Lipscomb, Georgetown, St. Mary's, and Furman. St. Mary's stinks, and Furman, they're probably ahead of Ohio State and Clemson also. So, I don't know. It's the new system, and the new system stinks. But let's get to some free picks for today's games. Of course, if you're watching us, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Greatly appreciated. I want to say that, like I said, a lot of groups, a lot of cappers, a lot of stuff starts popping up this time here. Free contests and all that other stuff. But we'll take none of that advertising in our groups. If people are messaging you to join other groups that you know that they've gotten you out of our groups, by all means, let me know. I got like 4 messages yesterday of people saying that people from other groups are signing them into their groups, and the only group that they're currently in is Sports Chat Place or Picks and Parlays. It's like, if you guys want to join other groups, then you go ahead and join them. You don't need other people to join them for you. It's bullshit. It's kind of like Facebook telling us what's relevant for us. Hey, Jen. Anyways, I like the Nuggets here against the T-Wolves. The line's dropping, and of course the money here is on the Timberwolves early. The Nuggets looked terrible last time out against the Warriors. It was kind of their big chance. They could have moved into first place in the Western Conference playoff standing. Now it looks like they're going to be number 2, but they're still much better than the Timberwolves team. Just 15-19 against the number on the road. 9-25 straight up on the road. Meanwhile, Denver 27-6 at home, 22-11 against the number at home, 6-4 against the spread in the last 10. No matter how bad Denver looked last game at Golden State, where, let's face it, a lot of teams have looked bad. Denver's not a bad team. We're going to take the Nuggets here. We're going to lay double digits against the Timberwolves. That'll be our first pick of today's show. Of course, we do free picks on this show every single day. Our best bets over at Sports Chat Experts. So I was going to have the new T-shirt on today, but they got lost in the mail. So we will have it, I believe, maybe Thursday is what they're saying. We'll see. We're not going to press our luck. I like the Spurs -5 against the Mavericks. The Mavericks, I would say they haven't packed it in, but let's just say when they made that trade for Porzingis, they packed it in. Meanwhile, the Spurs have been rolling. They've been kind of moving up the playoff standings. They were solidly cemented into that 8 spot in the Western Conference, meaning they would have taken on the Warriors in the first round. But now they've moved into the 7. They're breathing down. There's 1 game behind the Clippers, 2 games behind the Trailblazers for the 5th spot, 3 games behind the Thunder for the 4th spot, 4 games behind the Rockets for the 3 spot, and 5 games behind the Nuggets for the 2 spot. So the Spurs are right in the mix in the way that they've been playing recently. They're tied with the Clips in the loss column for the 6th spot. So the Spurs have won 5 games in a row. The Mavericks, of course, have been absolutely terrible. They have the 2nd worst record in the Western Conference and the 6th worst record in the NBA. They've lost 5 in a row, 1-9 in the last 10. I know they've been pretty good at home this season, 21-12 straight up, but 14-25 against Western Conference teams. I gotta say, I like the Spurs. I think they blow them out. Anyways, we do free picks every single day. Best bets always over at sportschatexperts.com, as well as sportschatplace.com Premium and Premium Plus. Just trying to get all the screens up here. I don't know, some reason my computer, it always gets all mixed up, which I think is pretty normal. When you have this many screens going on, you're bound to have some sort of issues. But like I said, if you're watching this show, if you could click the thumbs up, that's what keeps the show going. But anyways, we do free picks on the show every single day. Our best bet's always over at Sports Chat Experts. If you have a specific game that you want to see a pick on, you can get that over at sportschatplace.com, where we have free picks on every single game, every single day. Of course, this is the only place where I give out my free picks, is on our live show. So let's get to some college hoops. Started off with Miami up against Wake Forest. The Canes laying 7.5 again in this one. Wake has been playing pretty strong recently. Matter of fact, we took them against Florida State on Saturday, and it was nice because Florida State, Wake was kind of winning a lot of the game, and then Florida State went on a big run. They had a chance to really put the hammer down and cover against Wake Forest, but instead they took Wake put in all their seniors and everything and all the walk-ons and everything like that. And Florida State kind of gave them the ball, let the walk-on take an open 3, and it was Billis, Jay Billis from ESPN. I guess he's not a walk-on, maybe he's the captain or whatever, but it was senior day, whatever. He hit a 3 at the buzzer, and I believe he was fouled as well. And we ended up getting the cover in the game. We had no business getting the cover, which we'll take because it happens to us going the other way so many times, right? Where we have the right team, they're crushing them at halftime, and then the last couple minutes it becomes we lose our cover. But it happens, even favorites, underdogs, doesn't matter. It seems to happen often. So we'll take it when we get it. I'm in Vegas all the time. I will be in Vegas for the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament. Be there next week. I'm always there for March Madness. I get to Vegas a little bit less this year so far than I was there last year. But I'm definitely going to be there this week. Anyways, I like Miami. I'm going to lay the 7.5. Jim Larinaga is one of the best coaches in college basketball. He has not had his full team this season, not even close. I think the world is on Wake Forest in this game, and we know what happens with public underdogs. They usually mess the carpet pretty good. We're going to take Miami here and lay 7.5. I think that Canes win this one going away. One thing that we saw from the Canes in recent years is terrible from the foul line. This year they're actually bad from everywhere else and good from the foul line. I think in these sort of games, what we've seen so far, reminder in tournament games that the line is everything. spreads are covered and not covered at the line. Anyways, second game today is Georgia Tech and Notre Dame. I like Georgia Tech in this one plus the 2 points. You have a public team like Notre Dame favored in a game that, let's face it, the Irish have been absolutely hideous this season. This is the worst team that Mike Bray has had there, and just 1-9 in games away from home this season straight up. Yet they're favored in this game against Georgia Tech, who has the better record this season. Neither of these teams have done much recently, but Georgia Tech, once again, slightly better than Notre Dame. And I think we're getting a team that's, I mean, neither of these teams are good, right? Neither of them are good at all. But we're getting a team that's slightly better in Georgia Tech, who's won their last 2 games of the season, beating Boston College in overtime, winning at NC State, which is, no small feat. They did that, and then, but meanwhile, when we look at Notre Dame, this is a team that's lost 7 games in a row. And I know they've played some of the Murderers road teams, but they got beat at Pittsburgh, Clemson. These are not the tough spots. Wake Forest, they lost by 7. Their last win was their win against Georgia Tech. They lost at Miami by 15. So I got to say, I like Georgia Tech in this one plus the points. It's our 4th pick for today's show. We'll do a couple more picks while we're here. Of course, we do free picks on this show every single day. We have free picks on every single game, every single day at sportschatplace.com, as well as at picksandparlays.net under the free picks tab. Of course, you can get our best bets over at sportschatexperts.com, as well as over at picksandparlays.net. I'm going to take Vermont here. Going to lay 17 points. We've been on Vermont so much this season. They are 18-10 against the spread. Boy, I remember when they were 17-5. We were loving them. We kind of laid off the Catamounts a little bit as they fell into this funk. But 18-10 against the number, still good enough for us. Playing against Binghamton here, 10-22 this season. Just 13-17 against the spread. 4-6 in their last 10 games. I like Vermont's going to just absolutely smash them here. Look for a 20-point plus win for Vermont. I also like South Alabama against Arkansas State. I know we have inverse line movement here in Arkansas State. It's mild, though, and I think South Alabama getting the better team here at a real, I think this is just a really light number at 4.5. No reason not to take the Jaguars here. It's, Arkansas State's been terrible against the number, too. 11-18 against the spread this season, while South Alabama's 17-11 against the number. Really good cover teams are really good things, right? So, anyways, if you're watching this show, if you could hit the thumbs up, greatly appreciated. I was going to have the new shirts and everything here today, but they're not here. Something lost in the mail, but rerouted, and we should have them. And I'll post an article on how to get the free shirts. But anyways, let's do another free pick. Let's go to running out of games. Northern Kentucky against Wright State in a pick 'em. This one is going to be one of those good games. Northern Kentucky, much better offensively. Wright State, better defensively. These teams split their games this season. One thing we know about Northern Kentucky is I'd have to say that there's a negative sentiment against Northern Kentucky because they're a type of team that wins a lot of games and don't cover a lot of spreads. And that's always kind of like, it makes it seem like they're a worse team than they are. I mean, they're 25-8 this season, but meanwhile, against the spread, just 11-20. So it just feels like that they've not come through. I know they had the bad loss to Cleveland State at home earlier this season. Well, really not that much earlier, maybe 5 or 6 games ago. But in Wright State, they've been rolling for the most part. But I have to say that Northern Kentucky is the better team and actually more experienced in this type of spot. I'm going to take Northern Kentucky in this one. That's a pick 'em. I'm also going to take Hartford against UMBC. UMBC is the team that beat Virginia last year in the NCAA tournament, so they're getting a lot of love here, a lot more well-known. But when you look at the numbers, they all add up for Hartford. This is just a pure numbers play on Hartford. It's where you do the numbers, you crunch them, and, you know, you just have Team A and Team B, and Team A just happened to be Hartford in that game. I was ready to give it out as a premium pick, but I didn't. The other one I like is St. Francis against Fairleigh Dickinson. I couldn't give this out as a premium in good conscience because these teams don't play in a ton of line games, right? So I like St. Francis. They're laying 4.5 in this one. There's been some pretty strong line movement. Namer Sonoma says, put your picks in the Facebook chat group. I can't say that enough. Well, you can say it all you like because we're not going to put them in there. My picks are here on the show. I give them out. I recap them at the end. And that's pretty much the best you're going to get from us as far as that goes. If you don't like it, you're free to go elsewhere to not watch the show at all. But I'll tell you one thing that we're not going to do is post the picks as a list anywhere. So, You can say it a million times. You say you can't say it enough. I think you've already said it more than enough. But I think you know, there's a reason we do the show like we do it, and we're going to continue on with it. This is what most people agree on, and this is what we're going to do. But anyways, on that note, let's wrap up today's show. We'll just recap them, even though Namer thinks, you know, that if it was their show that they would do it a different way. You could do your own show and post them in your own Facebook chat group. That would be awesome. Take the Nuggets -10, the Spurs -5. And then we moved to college basketball. We took the Hurricanes of Miami -7.5. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets plus a deuce. Vermont -17. South Alabama -4.5. Northern Kentucky in a pick'em. Hartford plus 1.5. And St. Francis of Pennsylvania -4.5. This is Mitch. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be an awesome day for college hoops tomorrow.